the king.
So you think you guys got a lot in common?
In some aspects.
So, but as of right now, I have to put Terence as number one. And after a sparring session with the 50-0 legend, Terence Crawford had much to say about Floyd, and even spoke about the comparison that boxing fans had always tried to draw between him and Mayweather. Mayweather has had the accolade of training many great fighters over the years, with the likes of Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and Dan Davis being beneficiaries of Floyd Mayweather's wealth of boxing knowledge. His latest trainee is Terence Crawford, and he did have some words to share with his fans of his time with Floyd Mayweather. Well, you might wonder why Terence Crawford, a professional fighter with 40 fight experience, was seeking Mayweather's help at such a late hour, a few fights away from his retirement. His reason isn't far-fetched, however. Terence Crawford's next fight marks his debut at 154 pounds. As a result, he turned to Floyd Mayweather, who is a former world champion at the same weight class, for some lessons. Recently, in an interview, Floyd Mayweather brought back memories of his famous fight against Canelo Alvarez at the weight class.
Gave the sport of boxing their whole life and sacrificed a lot inside that square circle. They should feel that way. So if he feel that way, more power to him.
I have one fight, and the fight was at a catchweight. But it wasn't my idea. Anyone can go online and pull this up. It was an article. So with Canelo, at one time, I believe Canelo thought I was scared of him, that I was afraid. So he said, Floyd doesn't want to fight me. I'm willing to meet him at 152 or 152 and a 12 PBS.
I had one fight, and the fight wasn't actually at a catchweight. It was at a catchweight.
And me, I called his bluff and said, if you want to do it, let's do it at 152 or 152 1/2. But after Canelo made the weight, it wasn't like it was a certain clause where he couldn't gain weight. He weighed 152 or 1522. I think he came in at 168 or close to 170. But I came in at 151 or 152.
So with Canelo said, I believe Canelo at one particular time thought I was scared of him, that I was afraid. So he said, Floyd don't want to fight me. I'm willing to meet him at 152 pounds or 152.
Perhaps Terence Crawford felt this was good enough for him as well, since he had so much to learn about the new weight class he'll be moving to in less than a month. Despite the fact that boxing fans have severally drawn comparisons between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Terence Crawford, Bud refused to deprive the 50-0 boxing champion of his rightful honors.
King.
So you think you guys got a lot in common?
In some aspects.
Terence Crawford appreciates Floyd Mayweather, and when he was asked about their similarities, he had a few more things to say as well. He's the king. Crawford praised and acknowledged Floyd's greatness. He then continued, we have quite a lot in common in some aspects, but we're a little different, because I take more chances earlier in his career. He was taking a lot of chances in his career as well.
Excuse me, Crawford.
Right now, but earlier in his career, he was taking a lot of chances.
Like Crawford said, they have quite a lot in common. However, boxing fans and supporters have compared both fighters to discover the better fighter. And when they did, a new source put Crawford as the likelier winner of a fight between the two fighters. When it comes to pure boxing ability, you'd be hard-pressed to find another producer of more sweet science masterclasses than Floyd Mayweather Jr. is going to reach on the left HS again, and the lightning hand speed left hook drops him, and the crisp jab precision timing and counterpunching ability all empowered Mayweather to pick his long list of opponents apart, and he did it over 2 iterations of himself. Just as Crawford said, pretty boy Floyd was the more aggressive boxer, bringing the fight to opponents, while Money Mayweather years later would compute and edge opponents out with brilliant boxing. Whichever style you prefer, both bodies of work made the legend that is Floyd Mayweather Jr. Comparatively, boxing fans are still in awe of what Crawford did to Spence in his last fight. Drops him again. That's a hard knockdown that time. Whether it was a power jab that he repeatedly snapped through Spence's guard punching in traffic, or the timing of his counterpunches, though it wasn't Bud's first time. We've never seen him display such superior boxing prowess against a fighter of Spence's skill. When it comes to pure boxing prowess, perhaps no one should be given an advantage over. There are so many ways this could go wrong that it might be best to declare this category a music draw. Mayweather, but Crawford's style of boxing is different, yet effective, even explosive in his own right. How would their boxing stack up if Crawford were to fight Mayweather in his prime? and use his lasering shots against Mayweather's disciplined sweet science. Who would assert the jab first? Who would be the more effective counterpuncher? How many times have we seen Mayweather slow down and then entice his rival to the center of the ring, where he computed, examined, and uploaded a strategy to dissect his rivals? As an undefeated 5-time division world champion Crawford and undisputed junior welterweight champion, Mayweather took his ring IQ and mantra of hitting without getting hit and practically wrote it into the Hall of Fame. Since then, welterweight fighters have demonstrated a high ring IQ throughout their careers. Mayweather showed quick reflexes, particularly when counterpunching, but Crawford's cutting angles and abrupt delivery have Bud has the speed advantage against Mayweather in his 50 victories. Compared to Crawford's 40 victories, 27 came via knockout, with 31 of those victories coming via knockout. And he's still in motion now returned to Crawford's wizardry over Spence, stopping him 3 times in way to a decisive TKO in the 9th round, destroying a fighter with Spence's striking strength and body-snatching technique that methodically defeated Kell Brook. Being the undisputed world welterweight champion after defeating Sean Porter and Trevor Dennis, UGA's was anything but simple, but Crawford made it appear that way. His strength played a significant role in Mayweather's paint job in the corner, as he raised his shoulder into the Philadelphia shell and took hits with his arm while using his free hand to deliver strikes. This was defensive boxing turned counterpunching at its best, as Crawford demonstrated. In the first round, when both fighters are trying to gauge each other's strength, we see Crawford being the more active and busy fighter early on, landing shots even though many of them are absorbed by Mayweather's shoulder and elbow. By the middle rounds, Mayweather's style would start to show as he would pepper Crawford with jabs and bank some rounds, demonstrating that he is nowhere near as skilled as Crawford is. Moving away from the comparison, moving up in weight isn't as easy as it seems to many, and Crawford's fighting ability and those whiplashing punches might be just enough to have judges credit him on his pressure and volume en route to a points win over Mayweather's brand of boxing. So, although we go through a series of punches here, nothing really landed the refight for Mayweather. With a constant flow of pressure, Crawford's firepower could get to Mayweather, even enough to hurt the legend at times as close as we see this one being Crawford's fighting ability. Terence Crawford is looking for as much assistance as he can in order to avoid making the same mistakes Canelo Alvarez did when he faced Dimitri Bell a few years ago. Canelo Alvarez's aspirations reached a breaking point as the unbeaten pound-for-pound champion faced off against at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. World Boxing Association light heavyweight champion Dimitri Bivol Alvarez, a 4-division champion, used a career-low 84 punches in 12 rounds of action. Bivol relied on his defense and precise punching to pull off the upset by a unanimous decision. In a bout that seemed anything but competitive, all 3 judges gave Bivol 113 points. CBS Sports gave Bivol 109 points, and Canelo wants to see more of it. 6 months after winning the 4-belt era's first undisputed super middleweight championship for the first time since defeating Sergey Kovalev to win the World Boxing Council title in 2019, Alvarez returned to the 175-pound class, but in the same week, he hinted at a potential move to heavyweight. Alvarez was unable to overcome the technical prowess of Bivol, a former amateur great from Russia, whose power mutes his opponent's offensive. Bivol's jab remained sharp the entire time, and he regularly produced clean combinations in response to every single punch that Alvarez delivered. Alvarez was never given a clean enough strike zone to land on, so the majority of the damage that Alvarez did manage to land went to Bell's left shoulder and arm, which remained stable behind his high guard.